Well, welcome again, everyone. It's me, Nick Michalak, and the spectacular Steve Frazier again.
Hello again, everybody.
And I repeated myself. I used spectacular last time.
That's fine. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I keep trying to get better at this. But anyway, guys.
You don't have to put one in there.
Why shouldn't I? Give me a reason why not.
Thank you. I appreciate you. And you, the listener.
Yes.
Sorry, welcome to The Dark Knight.
Yes. Our commentary for The Dark Knight. Hopefully you caught up with Batman Begins on our commentary series and stuff like that, so you can follow along with everything that's going on in this whole thing. But if you want to sync up your own copy of The Dark Knight with our commentary today, you get your timestamp over to 0 and turn on your subtitles. We'll be watching the 4K version.
Yay!
So guys, follow along with our countdown. So in 3, 2, 1, play.
Go ahead.
Oh, this one does have the IMAX scene, so we'll have some shifting aspect ratios we can comment on.
That's okay. I like that. I saw this I saw it the first time without the IMAX and the second time in the IMAX.
Okay.
Is this the most financially successful comic book film of all time?
No.
It is not. Okay.
No.
Do you know what is?
The Avengers Endgame. It made
that does not count.
Almost $3 billion.
Well, fine.
This one made only about $1 billion.
Fuck the Avengers.
But I'm sure at the time this came out, it was.
The Avengers is a greatest hits album. That doesn't count. I'm talking studio records. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
God damn it. All right, welcome to Chicago. Maybe? I don't know.
Yeah.
I know most of it's filmed in Chicago, but goddamn, look at this. It's already so crystal clear and beautiful. I think you're right. At the time, it was the most successful.
It would have been, yes.
I mean, that's Chicago if there ever was one.
It's at Franklin Street over there.
Franklin Street, all right. Sorry, we are Chicago apologists.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not. I don't know what the correct verbiage is, but...
geeks.
Right. We are...
But, got some interesting stories on this thing, because obviously, because it was shot in Chicago, and I knew a lot of actors at the time, there were a lot of people who vied for small roles in the whole thing, and my lead actor from The Fixer, Nick Deach, actually auditioned for one of these roles, but he didn't get it. But he and his brother ended up getting, roles, background roles as, the inmates towards the end of the film, but none of their footage got into film.
Oh, okay, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. But that would have been right during the time we were actually trying to shoot the movie, so we had a lot of long breaks trying to figure things out with production and schedules and everything, so...
Well, I mean, how can you say, anything to somebody who's trying to get a scene in a Nolan movie?
Yeah.
I love that they gave names to these characters based on their masks.
Okay.
Dopey, grumpy,
in the
happy,
subtitles, yeah.
Yeah. Which are the names of the dwarves, the Snow White dwarves, but...
That must have been straight from the script, then.
You'd think that they would have gone with, clown names or something. I don't know. I mean, we're in Chicago. Let's just call him Bozo and Cookie and
Grumpy.
Wizzo. And Wizzo wasn't a clown, but, Part of what makes this a great movie is the fact that it's, it's kind of like a heist movie.
A little bit. It's Roger Van Zandt back there. William Fichtner.
And then there's Gary Cole, right? In this as well? Or is that him?
I don't know.
Oh,
that's William Fichtner.
Oh, okay.
He was Roger Van Zandt in Heath.
Right. Uh-oh. Nope.
Yeah, the IMAX footage in this thing looks incredible.
And you did not see it in the IMAX?
No, I did not.
Yeah, it looked incredible there, too. Well, that walk looks familiar.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I have friends that work for banks.
Sure.
Bank vaults typically don't have, millions of dollars in them. It's possible that a bank of this magnitude would have more than your, local hometown bank. But, whoops. Funny that bus driver got named driver in the description.
Yeah, he doesn't have
Subtitle.
a clown name.
He doesn't have a clown or a dwarf name.
Well, it don't matter no more.
Yeah, he gone. This came out in July of 2008.
Yeah.
And I remember it so vividly.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously I was working at the cinema. And I was basically the number 2 person in the building.
Okay.
Behind the general manager.
All right.
And the GM... Oh, hello.
There we are.
What a great reveal.
Mm-hmm.
What a great kill, too. Why wouldn't he just pull it out of his mouth?
Well, it's got a trigger on it, so...
I guess. But spit it out? I don't know.
I don't know. Well, he thinks it's a bomb. If he pulls the trigger, I don't know.
Right, but the...
I don't know. Well, he's also been shot, so...
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Anyway, so the boss man at the time, my buddy Rob, got married.
Okay.
And in July, early July, and went on his honeymoon. And wouldn't you know it, the week that he was going to be in Maui is the week that The Dark Knight comes out. The busiest weekend of the goddamn summer.
Yeah.
So I have a very strong memory of basically being promoted to running the whole show during the time frame when this came out.
Yeah, it was always look back on that time as like there were like these other films that were coming out. They were trying to be like franchise sequels, like Hellboy 2, Golden Army. Where it's like it's a sequel to a first one that barely made a profit to begin with, and they put out like a week before this comes out. Then the week after this, they put out like the X-Files sequel that no one was asking for.
Is that like... Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, they put out the second X-Files movie that was... One, it wasn't the story anyone was looking for, and also it was like it didn't perform well, it didn't get good critical reactions, like all these films like... Yeah, no one knew it was going to make $1 billion, but you could tell months out this thing was going to crush at the box office. That you put in these kind of like... Probably not the hottest things to put out in the wake of this thing, or even a counter-programming thing. You just kind of like... You don't stand a chance.
Right. Well, the marketing on it was brilliant from the jump.
Yeah. And also in this sequence, because I remember, because me and my friend Eric, DP and everything.
Yes.
We were coming back from scouting a location in downtown Chicago that we didn't end up using, but as we're driving back in his car, he gets a call from a friend who was on this shoot on this night, invited him to come to it. So Eric was at least present for part of this filming of this sequence. Not
involved in the production, just as an eyewitness.
Observer, yeah. This entire parking garage sequence. Because he later told me about the whole thing where they had this like the spiral area, the entire place and everything. So he was on set for this because he had been working with a certain guy who was already a cinematographer and learning from him how to do things, so we could benefit on the production and stuff like that for him to learn and grow.
Now that's a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
It did seem a little odd that a Batman showed up wielding a machine gun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks like a half-assed Batman.
Yeah.
Anyway, Batman cosplay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we left the end of Begins,
Mm-hmm.
where was the Scarecrow character?
He was just out.
He was out. Okay.
Because Arkham got flooded with all the gas and everything, and everyone, all the inmates escaped, so they're kind of like, we still got to round all this stuff up, but we're kind of making some progress, but they start talking about the escalation problem of everything going on, which this film addresses.
It's interesting that a villain survived a comic book movie and makes an appearance in the next one. Like, that doesn't happen very often.
No.
So, right off the bat, like, Nolan is clearly taking a different approach than, typical.
Yeah. No, so you could just tell in this sequence alone, he learned a lot more about how to photograph the action. A lot more wider shots. He's let the shots go on a little bit more to let the choreography kind of speak for itself.
That Batman's a little chubby. Oh, there's more than one. I didn't realize that.
There's a whole slew of them.
I didn't realize that more than one was dressed up as the Batman. They cleaned that place out.
Real fast, yeah.
I like the line, him again.
Mm-hmm. They've been on the case a little bit here and there.
Right. Like, he's already a known...
Yeah.
Well, at the end of the last one...
Yeah, the Joker card, yeah.
It was brought up, right.
And they eventually say that it's been about a year since Batman debuted on the scene. Mask looks a little weird on that angle. I don't know.
The cowl? Yeah.
The cowl looks a little weird on that angle. The straight on thing.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I forgot they had to, like, rebuild everything after the last one. Here's a production design, right? Whoa. Go ahead.
In this one, Bale definitely looks a little bit more toned. He's not quite as... doesn't seem quite as bulky as he was in the last one.
He also looks more tan.
Yeah.
It's a white guy.
Nobility.
No. Well, I mean, I guess he was a white guy in Batman Begins too, or not Begins, but Batman Forever. But
yeah.
He didn't start out that way.
No.
So weird.
Yeah.
Good makeup too on the scars and everything there.
Yeah.
I love a pinstripe suit.
Mm-hmm. There's Eric Roberts, man. There's this weird type of thing they did for the promotion. Because They ended up doing this sort of like anthology animated movie called Batman Gotham Knight
Okay.
that they claimed was like bare concept only to a certain way, saying like, "Oh, this is fills the gap between Batman Begins and The Dark Knight." But when you start looking like the characterization of Maroni, it's nothing like Eric Roberts. It's not even drawn the same way as what Eric Roberts looks like. It's like there's a lot of concepts, and it's like, okay, you probably didn't get more than a few scraps of notes and whatnot about what Nolan was doing in the film. It basically has like almost no resemblance whatsoever to what either film is, and they got like 5 different art styles in the whole thing because they gave it to different animation studios that looked nothing like Batman whatsoever. It was a very... It's good on its own, but when you're trying to fit it in between the two films, it absolutely does not fit whatsoever. Because you also have Kevin Conroy coming back to voice Batman, his characterization of Batman is much different than Bale's.
Right,
So I tried watching a little bit of it again last night, and it just doesn't click. It was a good idea. It just needed more kind of collaboration on the front end. Roberts is such a peculiar actor. It's like he'll go off and do a big movie like this, and he'll do like 20 fucking dirt cheap crap movies from some random studio all in the same year, and it's like, I don't know. It's just a weird career.
And now
she's taking over the Katie Holmes role.
Right, I was going to say, she's...
It's one of those things, I don't know, it's always that little disconnect we've talked about in other things. When you change the cast.
Right. It's so blatantly Chicago outside that window.
It is another kind of odd thing. It's like the first one, they really took a lot of time to kind of like make it kind of a distinct city and kind of amalgamate things from like the shoreline, kind of the skyline, and adding in Arkham and the Narrows. This one just like it's just Chicago.
Right.
There's no stylized element to it whatsoever in that regard.
They really kind of tried to disguise it in the first one.
And then the next one, they moved most of it over to Pittsburgh, so now it completely doesn't look like the same city yet again. So it's a very inconsistent approach.
They're kind of setting them up to be adversaries.
A little bit. They both kind of want the same thing, but the
approach is different.
Yeah.
For sure.
Dent's much more the righteous type of guy, and Gordon's much more pragmatic. It's like, I know I've got flawed elements in what I have to work with, but I have to kind of... If I throw it all away, then I've got like nothing to work with.
Right.
So he's almost trying like in rehabilitation form.
Well, he's also, he's a cop, so it's kind of a,
give and take.
Do by any means necessary,
right.
This would have been... Is this...
Post his accident?
I was trying to think. I feel like this is...
before with the hand?
His dead hand, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pay attention to his hands and see if they're either hidden or gloved or not functioning.
Which one is it? The right hand?
I believe
I think it's the left hand. I think it was the left hand. I went and checked out Lifetime Achievement Award he got, and he had the glove on one of them.
Yeah, I believe it's his left, because he's still able to function with, and write and things with his right hand.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like maybe this was before.
Hmm.
It is hard when you recast a character.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not like it's an uncommon name. You know what I mean?
Right.
Rachel is a regular name.
Right.
A lot of people are named Rachel.
Yeah.
There really hasn't been anything said or done to indicate that it's the same Rachel. You know what I mean?
Just the whole thing is like when he said, "I'm keeping an eye on the new district attorney," and Oliver says, just kind of alludes like you're interested in him or his social circle, and Bruce just says, who Rachel spends her time with is her own business. So it's just
Well, there's a little bit of familiarity. Yeah. Okay.
So, well, it's not like they cast someone who looks that different. It's not like they cast like a redhead or something else like that who's got completely different things. You can still visually meld one to the other, but I don't feel like she's written all that much different or performed that much different. But it is just a thing of just like.
Right, it's Tuesday night taking over for Arquette.
I don't know.
Yeah,
you just had that sort of particular chemistry between Holmes and Bale, and it feels as it's now shifted towards two other characters in the whole thing.
Right, and why did Katie Holmes not take this job? Do you know?
I think it was the Scientology.
Okay,
Tom Cruise, something in that regard. There's something in it.
I don't know when Suri was born, their child. Could have been around this time, actually. You know, I guess if she was pregnant or something, that would explain why she couldn't be in a Batman movie.
I can do a fast search for an answer. Says she had a packed schedule, I guess. The other things were talked about in the media and stuff like that because Cruise and everything, and Cruise was jumping up on sofas and everything, going a little crazy on himself. So he had tried to some odd attention. So, and then the thing dissolved between them eventually.
So the mob has lost money.
Yeah.
Although it's
Gordon and Batman have kind of pegged all their money and everything, and then you got Joker out there, he's robbing banks and everything, so they're getting a little chipped away on both sides. Michael J. White there, he is Spawn.
Oh.
Unfortunately.
No, nobody knows that because nobody watched it.
No, but he's gone off and done some. He's more active in like the direct-to-video action movie scene, but a lot of people speak very highly on him. He's a very good martial artist.
I love that we did get a little bit of an introduction to him visually, and then we get this. Yeah, good joke. Good trick.
I like the fact you feel a little tension between all the different mob bosses. They don't all get along.
This is kind of a role of a lifetime.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
Because he was such an odd choice, it got all the fervor and all the other fucking bullshit to people stir up about themselves and everything, but proved everyone wrong.
So you're saying that there was a lot of, like, pre-vitriol?
Well, everyone's thinking, like, the Brokeback Mountain guy, 10 Things I Hate About You guy. They didn't think, like, he was that type of actor to do this.
Right.
He didn't have that kind of track record to think that he would fit.
But once the marketing came out,
oh, yeah.
and people saw the imagery,
yeah.
I feel like they got it.
Oh, yeah.
And
they employed a lot of viral marketing in this whole thing, different odd websites and other things. They were really just going whole hog in the whole thing. They knew what they had.
Right.
The whole thing is, I mean, might be different for other people. I just see him in the makeup. I don't even see Heath Ledger.
I don't either.
I just see a character.
Yeah,
That's
agreed. I have a really hard time seeing the actor underneath.
Yeah.
And really, that's such a compliment to not only him, but to
the design, the makeup.
Right, all of it, the filmmakers. The fact that it's not, like, fully pancaked on there, like it's slightly worn off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like Robert's there. He's kind of enamored with this guy a little bit.
Right.
He kind of sees behind the facade. Not so much the facade, but just like he looks past the surface of the guy. It's like
there's a little bit of a respect.
Yeah, he sees there's a little bit of stuff clicking in the head there. It's like, this guy's got something.
Yeah.
He doesn't entirely trust him or anything else like that, but it's like...
Well, right. It's like, oh God, what's the phrase that I'm looking for? Like professional respect. I don't know. Like your A is your enemy, but you gotta give him some credit.
Begrudgingly, yeah. The cinematography just does feel a lot more confident in what it's doing now than the first one. You wouldn't have seen a big shot like this, a one-shot scene, all done Steadicam.
It feels like a bigger movie.
Yeah. I mean, he's done the Prestige in between this, or he's just gotten a little bit more traction on himself, and he just feels a little bit more comfortable.
And I like to talk about peaks, so I feel like this is the peak of Nolan's career.
Potentially, yeah.
I can't imagine. I mean, he did like Inception after this.
Interstellar.
Yeah, but nobody liked Interstellar.
Yeah,
and
I didn't see anything.
And I don't know, like, I mean, critically, financially, like this is it.
Mm-hmm.
God, The Prestige is so good.
No, yeah.
God, I love The Prestige. If anybody listening to this has not seen The Prestige, don't stop what you're doing. Keep listening to us. Mm-hmm. But then when you're done, go get The Prestige.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got two working hands here.
Yeah, so not yet.
Had to have been pretty soon after this. I know we looked it up on a previous commentary. He is the Q to his James Bond.
These two guys such great chemistry, man.
Much as Llewellyn's Q did to most of the Bonds. Yeah.
Again, another just one shot.
Circle around, yeah. Cancelled only has one L, guy.
Oh, damn it.
I mean, I guess it's one of those that has become acceptable to do it both ways, but...
No.
But in my mind, and in most of the world's mind, Cancelled has one L. Well, Michael Caine on a boat is something we're very familiar with airplanes and water landings. Everyone.
There's a little scar on him. They kept this little scar on his rib cage there.
Who? Which one?
Bale.
Oh yeah,
Still got the scars all over.
He's got scars all over. Yeah. If anyone's not listened to our Jaws the Revenge commentary, where we blow Michael Caine for 90 minutes, it's in the archives now. Can I just say, this is going to sound weird.
Sure.
But black guys can wear any suit and look awesome. Doesn't matter what color it is.
Sure.
Brown,
Yeah.
blue,
Purple,
mauve,
sure.
yellow.
Yeah.
A black guy looks good in every color suit. I'm a little jealous. Because I feel like if I was wearing his outfit...
I would buy it.
Right.
It's like, what are you doing? Get out.
Exactly. I'd feel like a knockoff. Now, I'm correct, right, that he passed away prior...
Before the film was released, it was 6 months.
It was January, yeah. So they finished filming, and within, like, a few months...
Yeah.
It was January. I remember it was January.
Yeah.
I remember where I was at work at the theater, and I remember exactly where I was standing. And, you know, smartphones didn't exist at that point.
Yeah, no.
And I don't remember exactly. Oh, you know what it was? I was standing at the box office, and my friend Rob, the boss, was upstairs in his office.
Yeah,
and it came across the TV. We had a TV in the office where we watched the news or whatever, and it came across the TV, and he called down to me, and he said, Heath Ledger just died.
Oh.
And I looked up, and there's the
poster.
We had an 8-foot banner.
Oh, jeez.
So there's some marketing out there if anyone wants to put it in their Google machine.
Yeah.
There was some marketing out there, teaser images of the city street and just the Joker only. And we had that image on an 8-foot banner hanging in the window. By the way, that banner is now in my home.
Okay.
I was the lucky person that took that one. I thought, you know what, since I got to deliver the bad news to most everybody, and I remember he called me down on the phone, and I looked up at the banner, and it was like this surreal moment of, like, he's dead, and he's the movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it was so weird.
And speaking of phones, I actually got the Dark Knight limited edition Nokia phone.
This is unbelievable. He's showing me in his hand right now.
I don't have a way to charge it anymore, so I can't show you the thing. But it came pre-programmed with like wallpapers, with the promotional art from the film,
really,
posters, everything on this little LCD screen.
You can't find a charger for that?
I don't have it anymore. I could probably get one.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like you should use it.
It had you could change out the backing for like a regular one, but I would have just kept the regular.
Yeah, it's got the little Dark Knight imagery on there.
It's an official bat phone.
That's unbelievable. It looks not as sleek as that one that Morgan Freeman just held up.
So I held on to it about 4 years until I upgraded to something else.
I was going to say, you actually use this as your cell phone?
This was my actual phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you...
I think I actually had like super low res or
something
on it.
Is that like a Motorola brand?
Nokia.
Nokia, okay. I pretty much...
I imagine one of these phones.
Yep, that's a Nokia right there. So. Yep. That is pre-smartphone. Smartphones, like the Apple iPhone, which was
about a year out.
Right, officially probably the first smartphone, right? Officially.
Yeah.
That came out in 2009. And it was shortly thereafter that I bought the G1, which was the first Android phone.
Okay.
And it was a Google phone.
This footage, man.
Look at this. Yeah, this is IMAX.
Yeah.
I remember this scene sitting in the IMAX and thinking, holy shit.
Yeah, I first saw this on the nearby Ultra screen at the Marcus Cinema.
Marcus is the company I worked for.
It was a super screen at the time, but
well, at the time, Marcus had both.
yeah,
It had
yeah.
Well, actually,
But this one up here was a super screen at the time. Now it's an Ultra screen. It's not as big an auditorium as the one that was near my old home.
right, our theater had the Ultra, and yeah, this scene in the IMAX, like holy shit, this looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, right, even now in 4K,
Yeah.
is like stunning.
I mean, this one definitely resolves better than the first one, where it had a few points where it looked a little splotchy. They might have put some digital noise reduction to kind of tame down the grain, but this one is resolving very well.
The lights
Flaps
on
the
this,
frickin' cape and everything.
yeah, the lights on this building here, which I don't recognize, but
Yeah, it's definitely Hong Kong. Everything is.
do you ever watch that TV show about the guys that made fish tanks?
No.
It was on, I don't remember what channel it was on, but it ran for several seasons, and it was like they were out of Vegas or something, and they made custom fish tanks. It was, I think it might have been called Tanked or something stupid like that. And it was like the dumbest but most awesome thing you've ever seen. They'd build these outrageous, like, you know, walls of fish tank or specific shaped ones, or I don't know, it was just the coolest thing.
There were a few guys in that last sequence that didn't have good form in their gun.
Oh, really?
Play. You're not supposed to hold it with one hand. You're supposed to hold it with the two hand.
Right, you gotta two-hand it. Everyone likes a two-hander.
Like this guy, he's supposed to hold it that way. Because the kickback on the thing, you need both hands to keep it stable.
Yeah, I don't know what this building is, but it's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm. That whole shot's gorgeous. Put that on a freaking wall somewhere.
Wallpaper, yeah. And that's Hong Kong, you said?
Yeah, yeah.
This is such a beautiful movie, and wow, peak Nolan. That's funny. Oh, that's right. I forgot she worked for the district attorney's office. That guy in the right's a character actor, too, that has been in 100 different things.
He doesn't have a single line either.
Maybe it's not the guy I'm thinking of. Maybe it just looks like the guy I'm thinking of. Yeah, the good old Rico. That's how they break down the mob. Okay. I mean, we're a little bit of a talkie here. There's not a lot of action going on. We're kind of struggling through the... I don't know, it's like a chess game.
A little bit, yeah.
You know? There's your boy Roberts again, just looking tan and looking great.
Mm-hmm.
And so Robert's character works for the Maroney mob.
Oh, he is Maroney.
He is Maroney, okay.
Yes. You didn't need that line.
No.
It's like a 2-year-old's line.
Oh, 527 counts.
Mm-hmm.
Is that really how things work? I don't think it is.
I doubt it.
I'm pretty sure it's not. That's a great question.
Yes. I don't know if he's got really dark eyelashes or he's got some guy liner on. It's
the guy at the desk?
Yeah, the mayor.
He definitely has eyeliner on.
Yeah, that's unusual.
Why would he have eyeliner on? I mean, I put it on for my Kiss costume, but that's a little different. Hotel Monaco in the background there. It is striking.
Yeah.
That he has makeup on. Doesn't really make sense.
No, this always bothered me.
Whoops.
Mm. There's Marina Towers.
Oh, yeah. Right by the House of Blues there.
Yeah.
It'd be, Wabash, I think, and
maybe.
Whacker. Maybe it's not Wabash. Trying to think. Anyway, doesn't matter. Marina Tower. Look up Marina Tower.
We filmed right across from there.
Yeah, I know. We did.
We got some great photos. Evil dies tonight.
Oh, yeah. There he is.
I can't look at him without thinking about, man, I just can't do it anymore. It's not going to happen. Can't look at Anthony Michael Hall and not think about that shit.
Little Tommy Doyle.
Just.
Big Tommy Doyle. Not
just. It's done. Can't undo it, man.
That you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube, is what you're saying.
No. Tainted forever, man. Watch the John Hughes films. I just expect him to just start a mob riot.
He really looked so much different.
Oh, yeah.
Then than now. You know what I mean? He didn't age well.
No, he didn't.
That's so good. He's so creepy. I love it.
I looked up this building. That penthouse thing is CGI added because I looked it up and it doesn't exist there. They just have regular, like, AC units at the top of it.
Wow. That's a nice little touch.
Mm-hmm.
Which means they can do this on a set, right?
Yeah,
like
most likely, I'd imagine so. Hell of a big set they'd have to put together. I don't know how they get all this back.
Well, maybe not. Maybe they just use any old...
used another location, maybe.
Right.
And just stuck it where they want to in the city.
Right. Yeah, this could literally be any penthouse anywhere.
Yeah, definitely would have to be a practical location. Probably just
Right, just not a different
more accessible,
one.
Yeah.
Right. It might only be like the 7th floor or what,
Yeah.
of whatever. That's Pinky, Inky, and Blinky. It's a little bit of a political film, in a way. Like
To a degree.
I always like these scenes in movies where there's these large crowds, right? And one guy shows up and starts talking in a normal voice, and everybody at the party
Can hear him.
both can hear him and also is interested in listening.
Yeah.
Like, nobody is broken away.
Sure.
I mean, as somebody who has led meetings, I can tell you there's always two people that are talking to each other and not listening.
Sure.
I just think it's funny. It's one of those, like, picture-perfect movie things
Sure.
that drives me nuts. But, whatever. All right. Yeah. It's like more of the same, more of the same. I don't know if that's how it would go down.
Yeah, I don't know.
That feels a little weird to me.
I guess it's just the fact that they know there's still corrupt elements and that Maroney's people could still pay someone off to do something, but even then that's ends up being exactly what happens here.
Right.
So it's a little dodgy in that regard. You'd almost trust more like a big team of people instead of like just a select few. One or two people are less likely to get away with something if you send like a dozen cops to them.
Right. Maybe he is the Joker. I don't know. I'm playing devil's advocate. What do you want from me? How'd they get my DNA is a little bit of a weird sentence, right?
Mm.
99. Little sleeper hold. Oops.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great little production design. What the hell was in that?
Acid.
Well, didn't he pour his own drink? You know what I mean?
Could have just laced the glass. I don't know.
That's weird to me.
I don't know.
I wonder if that was ad-libbed.
Hmm.
It was purported that Heath Ledger was very method on this production, right? Where he would get into character and pretty much lived this.
That's what was said.
This dark life for.
That's what was said.
Oh. Now. Was he was still married, right? To, what's her name? Michelle Williams? Is that her name?
I have no idea.
I think they were still married when he died. I feel like that's the case. Unless I'm misremembering and he was also going through a divorce at the time, which could have led to...
It says just partner from 2004 to 2007. Doesn't say anything. I don't think they were married.
Oh, they weren't married. Okay, well, they had children. So, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm totally misremembering everything. But partner till 2007 means that they broke up during this era, which could have then led to his increased.
Possibly. I don't like to speculate on that type of stuff in terms of like how someone died and what led to it. I don't feel comfortable doing that.
All right.
It's all based on other people's speculation, their observations, not coming from the person themselves.
I'm not sure. Obviously, it was a conscious decision, but the licking of the lips is like such a creepy little thing, and it's so, I don't know, it's off-putting.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. And to date, this was definitely ironically, the most serious version of the Joker.
Live action, yeah.
Well, even in the cartoon, it was
a little bit.
He was more adult in that, I guess, but they're, what's his nuts from the Adam West? Cesar Romero.
Yeah.
He was still jovial and like he was a bad guy, but
exuberant. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't the baddest.
No.
Jack Nicholson was very animated and very.
Yeah.
He was a cool bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guess my point is that Ledger was scary.
Yeah.
And you were, like, afraid of his character.
Sure.
As opposed to... It wasn't all just kind of happy, comic booky, cartoony.
Sure.
Is that a wig? Is he wearing a wig?
Who, what, where?
On Dent.
No.
It feels like a wig. A rug.
Mm.
That scene in particular just looked really fake to me. I don't know.
I didn't have a problem with it.
And this is supposed to be the makeshift Batcave?
Yeah.
But the Batcave was underground. Did it, like, no pun intended, cave in? Is that the idea?
I mean, they said they wanted to rebuild everything and refortify it, so they probably have people all over the place. You're not going to be in the Batcave. You got construction workers and all this other stuff working around you the whole time to compromise your identity.
Right. You might as well just go here. Michael Caine's accent is so perfectly British, but like elegant British. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
But that's fine. We'll talk about it again. He is like the personification of class in a weird way. It's the Hancock building there on the left. I think this is the Sears Tower here on the right.
Probably.
That we're standing on. AKA the Willis Tower, if you're, of the last 15 years. I wonder if it was renamed Willis by the time it was shot here.
I don't recall when that happened.
Let me tell you, it was a big uproar in the city of Chicago.
Yeah, well, Sears ain't anything anymore.
How does nobody put together that he's Bruce Wayne? You know what I mean? It's always been such a tongue-in-cheek thing.
Oh, well.
That I love that he's just got a little Dremel that he could just let's cut out some plaster.
He hasn't gone overboard with the Batman voice as of yet. He works really well when he's a little bit more softer on the whole thing. But once he starts yelling at people in the film, it just gets a little...
Yeah. Well then.
I mean, this is an interesting thing they do, but I'm still a little hard-pressed that they can still get a fingerprint off this thing.
Well, I don't think he meant finger. I think he meant...
Well, no, they eventually go to Fox here, and construction, they get an actual fingerprint off the bullet.
Oh, I always took it to mean like ballistics fingerprint, not
No, he gets
finger,
an actual
finger.
thumbprint off the damn
Well,
bullet.
that's stupid. You're right.
Like,
I mean, I don't remember.
The thing is slower than you push in the chamber, then it comes up, shoots through a barrel at red hot speeds and everything, and then embeds in the thing and shatters. I don't buy it.
So they're insinuating that the bullet was on the fingerprint was on the bullet, and then it
got fired,
fossilized into the plaster.
I don't know. It went in there, it shattered, and they're reconstructing it and everything, and then they're going to take a fingerprint off of it through scanner technology.
That's thin.
I don't buy it. Never did.
Morgan Freeman is a national treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And he's deceptively old. Like, you know what I mean? He's, you know, we haven't seen him a lot recently. And that's because he's old. You know, you really hate when, like, the people that you love and grew up with, like, get to the end of their careers and you start seeing less and less and less of them. Makes you sad a little bit, you know?
He was in his 70s here.
Yeah, there. Which means now he's
85.
85, right.
I wouldn't say he's deceptively old. He seems perfectly fine at the age he is here.
Well, that's what I mean. He's older than he appears, I guess is what I was getting at.
Hmm.
It would be such huge news if the mayor of a major town, especially the one...
Was targeted for assassination.
Right. Successfully.
Mm-hmm.
He even called it Randolph.
Yeah.
Like, let's not even disguise it, right? Let's just...
Yeah, it's a little weird.
That's Monroe. I love a good car chase. There's some really good...
Yeah.
There's some really good location things going on here.
Yeah.
I do remember this completely disrupting everything in downtown
Oh, okay.
for, it felt like months. It might not have been months, but, all the businesses that had to close.
Okay.
And because they closed down whole streets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Something very touching, I don't know the right word, but about seeing all of the uniformed officers, like in their dress unis,
Okay.
just lined up in the street. It just, I don't know,
Okay.
just makes me, makes me sad,
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's a funeral, so it's, or whatever. Well done. Well done. Everything about that, well done.
Mm-hmm.
Timing the shots. Somewhere, I don't know if it was at my movie theater or if it was at a different one. I don't think it was mine. Well, now, yeah, actually, it was. I don't remember how or what the connection was, but we were able to have one night one of these Gotham police cars
Okay.
that was used in the production. I mean, they had hundreds of them.
Okay.
But we had one like at the cinema.
Okay.
That people could look at and say, like, this was one that was in the movie somewhere.
Okay.
Super interesting. I had forgotten all about that until I just saw the shot of the car there, and I thought, oh, that's weird. Jogged my memory.
Interesting. The mother mentions, like, go play with your sister, which would imply that's Barbara Gordon, but her name is Barbara.
Yeah.
And it's weird. It's like, okay, they were just outside Gordon's place where Batman was. Then they go all the way downtown, go up to the top of the building, turn on the bat signal, wait for him to show up. You couldn't have talked to him right then and there.
Well, they didn't know he was there, right?
He was 10 feet away from him on the balcony.
He was hiding. I don't
The
know.
kid saw him.
You're right.
The wife saw him. I mean, it's just a little weird.
I feel like a scene like this would be difficult to shoot with the lighting.
Yeah.
You know a lot more about that than I do. Is it as simple as just turn on the strobe lights and shoot?
I guess. I don't know. I've never done anything like that before.
I feel like it'd be harder than that. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's that simple.
I don't know.
His hair looks real in this scene. Maybe not. I don't know. Different angle. Ow! God, that gave me one of those tingles all the way up my whole spine.
Go your shins.
2 broken knees.
Yeah.
Look like Jim Cornette, the 86 Skywalker match there.
It's kind of the one thing they lose a little bit in this film, going the way they do with, like, okay, people kind of figured out Batman, that he won't kill people. He's got kind of limitations. Like, not many people are scared of Batman. Like in the first film, they treat him like such like a specter to a certain degree, like an urban myth of some kind.
Yeah.
Everyone was scared of him. They had all the things like, is he really human or stuff like that. This one's like, it's a lot more, because they're making it a lot more grounded and trying to make it more like Joker. You can't figure Joker out, but everyone's kind of figured out Batman. He's not as much of a feared figure to a degree.
That guy's also wearing eyeliner, by the way. This guy.
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Not as much as the mayor.
No, you're right. Not as much. But if you look at the bottom of his eyes.
Yeah. It's a peculiar choice.
You're right. I feel like if you know that Batman is not going to kill you.
Yeah.
And he's just the pillar of justice.
Yeah.
You're willing to take some chances, right?
Yeah.
Because
yeah. It's kind of the interesting examination here with the entire Dent story arc to a certain degree. Is like they're trying to play it like he's kind of duplicitous and you don't know which side he's going on, but when you reveal the whole thing of the double-headed coin, he never meant to ever kill the guy. It was all bluff. So they try to set up like he's got maybe like a dark side to him, but he doesn't really have a dark side because he was never going to do anything to begin with. He was just trying to play bad cop.
I always thought that his turn into, his heel turn was not done as well as it could have been in this movie.
It feels like there was talk that they're gonna originally gonna set it up and then pay it off in the following movie.
Okay.
Which feels like it would have
worked.
Just for the progression of his story, it felt like you would have more time to flesh it out and have a little bit more patience with it. But then they make it much more sort of a angle for a Joker to corrupt the city.
You're not supposed to do that.
Because because the big thing with Two-Face is a lot with like his psychology, that he does have two separate sides to him that are always trying to reconcile, or they're always combating with one another. So it's
they didn't do a good enough job setting that up.
Right.
Like, he's usually fighting for the good.
Right.
And it's good, and then all of a sudden it's just bad.
Right. You need more of that sort of underlying thing that's like, he's trying to be righteous and stuff like that, but then there's maybe some flashes here and there where he is more violent, or has more darker impulses to a certain degree that he's trying to repress.
Right.
And then the burn and all that type of stuff just brings it out of him more. That's really how the best stories go about telling that part of the character's development.
Michael Caine's a badass.
Oh, yeah. Sir Michael Caine.
Oh, excuse me.
He's a knighted badass.
Now, did your actor friend Chris Agos, is he in this at all?
Not that I'm aware of. He doesn't have any credits for this film. He did have a credit in Man of Steel.
Okay.
The scene got cut, sadly. It's not included in any of the releases, but he was actually portraying Clark Kent's pediatrician.
Oh, okay.
And the scene's been talked about. It might be in like adaptation of a comic book or a novelization if they did one, but the footage has never been seen. They didn't include it in the film.
News 26.
Yeah.
News 38.
Yeah, they're all fake.
None of them are like single digits like most networks.
Right.
I mean, NBC in Chicago is channel 5.
Yeah.
But I think it's channel 4 in New York. It's like four or 5 in LA.
Yeah.
Like, it's always a single digit, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are no networks
Unless
here.
you're Fox, you're late to the game. So
right.
You get shafted a little bit. Fox 32 here in Chicago.
There's Marina Tower again. It's such an iconic building visually that just having it nearby is
far too distinctive.
Right. Her eyes are striking, but she's got one of those eyes that you can see the whites all the way around.
Okay.
Makes her look a little psycho. But that's fine. She probably is. I wasn't really paying attention. I was talking about Chicago and such. So I've kind of lost a little bit of the plot here about.
Well, Batman, when Dent was interrogating the guy, Batman basically more or less told him, "You're going to hold a press conference. I'm going to turn myself in." But Dent's taken it upon himself to tell anyone that he's the Batman.
Oh, I see.
The actual Batman doesn't have to expose himself, so he's trying to manipulate the board to a certain degree to force people into the right positions to do what they have to.
Is this the first time we've seen the two-headed coin?
That's it. That's the reveal.
Which is supposed to present him as a bad guy, right? Like,
well, and no, not really, because because it's a two-headed coin. All these times where he's kind of flipped the thing to make a decision, it's all false.
right,
He's been manipulating people to think that they had a chance, and they never did. So he was always rigging the game to make it.
well, that's what I'm
The
saying.
result be to his end.
He's trying, like, the reveal of that is supposed to make us feel like he's a bad guy, right?
I don't know if it means that. It's just kind of revealing that all these times where he was like flipping the coin with Rachel is like,
Right. No, I
your
get
way,
it.
your way or my way, and it was always going to be his way. And more the implication for the audience is that when he was interrogating the guy and flipped the coin, it's like heads you live, tails you die. There was never tails for him to even pull the trigger on, so it was a complete bluff.
Right, and that I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like, the fact that he was, quote unquote, cheating with the coin is supposed to kind of make you think that he's bad.
Manipulative.
He's manipulative and bad, but when you analyze it, it's really not, because
No.
to your point, so it's like a false narrative.
He always had the end. He was never taking a chance at anything. Everything was always going to work out the way he intended to, because
Right. No, I
he
get
rigged
that.
the game. Yeah.
But the perception of it being rigged, I think, is supposed to trick the audience into thinking that he's more
Something, I don't know.
nefarious than he is.
I don't know. Again, it goes back to the interrogation scene there. That it takes the guts out of that scene.
Right.
When it seems like you're playing like a psychological duplicity with a character that he's being pushed towards the edge, where he's never, and that ends up being not the case whatsoever. So he was never going to do anything nefarious in that thing, or anything he would regret. He was just trying to bluff the guy into giving a freaking confession of some kind.
This is Lower Wacker Drive.
Oh yeah, it's a lot cleaner than it used to be.
Yeah, this used to be basically Tent City for the homeless, and really gross, and they cleaned it up quite well. Wacker Drive runs alongside the Chicago River, and it's basically a two-level
Yeah, there's
road.
upper and lower. Yeah.
And it's quite interesting. Just thinking about the logistics of what it would take to, like, shut down the city
Yeah.
to shoot things like this.
I mean, just figuring out the logistics of just how to photograph it with this limited space and everything is difficult too.
Right, clearly they're just driving back and forth.
Right.
Because it's not all that long of a,
No.
it's not long enough where this could be one continuous in one
I don't
direction.
know, 2 miles at the most, if even that.
Yeah, because it kind of goes up and around the
Yeah,
corner.
just basing on the horizon we have in the shots here.
But it wouldn't be that hard to, like, go to the other end and turn around and drive the other way.
But it's also the fact you're not just doing that. You got to reset up the lights. You got to reset up the cameras, all the pyrotechnics, all that type of stuff.
Oh, I'm not saying it's easy.
Oh yeah,
but
it's just. Well, I'm saying the logistics of just figuring out how to stage everything and put everything in the right places. It's very difficult.
he's tremendous. I was thinking about that banner that I got to take home from the cinema with his image on it, the Joker's. And in my apartment that I lived in, both at the time and up until about a year ago, I had 8-foot ceilings.
Okay.
And it fit. I don't know how wide it is. If it's maybe 4.5 or 5 foot wide. I mean, it's a banner that
Okay.
hung in a large window. and I was able to hang it in my little apartment, and it fit like floor to ceiling right in between two windows, and it was perfect. And then I moved, and the townhome that I'm in now, I've got all my memorabilia in the basement, and it has like a 7-foot drop ceiling, so it doesn't fit anymore.
Okay.
So I've got it rolled up, and I don't know what to do with it exactly, but I might find something. Whoa. That'd be the highlight of any kid's life, right? I love lines like that. Just simple stating the facts, observations.
Let's see. I don't know. This one here is like, I don't know where this is in the city. I've always been baffled by this sequence. I don't know where this location is.
I thought it might be underneath. There's an L stop underneath. It's at Jackson. It's actually very near the House of Blues in the Marina City. Chris Kindle Mart. And there's like an underground mall.
Okay.
It might be there.
Okay.
Right here is a very famous. This is LaSalle Street. The Chicago Board of Trade. It's a dead end. It's about 3 blocks from the Sears Tower. This famous dead end street here was also featured in The Untouchables.
Okay.
You could even see on North LaSalle on the side of the buildings. Yeah, South LaSalle, excuse me.
Kiko's.
Yep. Yeah, so if you're at
plug.
if you're at the Sears Tower on Adams Street and you walk about 2 blocks to the east, take a look to your right, and you'll see this view right here of this view of that building dead ending near the Starbucks there. God, it's beautiful, right? This is the image on the poster is him with the gun kind of dangling at his arm.
Yeah.
Whoop. Don't do that. It really was no surprise, especially because he died, that he was going to win the Oscar.
Sure.
It was interesting, though. This came out in 2008, which means that 2009 would have been the ceremony.
Yes.
And when the nominations came out and Heath Ledger was nominated, everyone was like, oh, that's, because really roles like this weren't typically honored.
Yeah.
But...
that's my friend Preston back there.
Oh, yeah. I see him.
From Dead of Night.
I'd actually seen him before.
Yeah, it's right there on the cameras.
He's a bald gentleman in the back there.
Yeah.
2 behind the lady.
He was,
he was in one of your films.
Yeah, he was in Dead of Night. Fantastic. He blew me away.
That's a great image, too. So the movie comes out. It makes, $500 million domestically or whatever it was. 400 million, I don't know. Something. It was a lot. And, then Heath Ledger gets nominated, and it was not really a surprise, but, again, it was like, oh, movies like this don't typically get recognized, but he was so good, and he died, so, okay, we're going to nominate him. And he was the favorite going into award season, which starts, typically in January, even before Oscar nominations are announced.
Mm-hmm.
Some awards have already been given out.
Yeah.
And he had been winning, and it was a thing, right?
Yeah.
So Oscar nominations come out that year, and the 5 movies that are nominated for Best Picture are relatively your typical Oscar fare.
Mm-hmm.
And excluded from that was The Dark Knight, which was, as far as I remember, the number 1 grossing movie of the year.
I'm absolutely certain of that.
And it started this dialogue of, should the most popular movie of the year
Mm-hmm.
be in consideration for Best Picture?
Mm-hmm.
What makes it a Best Picture?
Yeah.
And there is, in my opinion, some credence, maybe not all, because I'm old school Oscar, like diehard, dyed-in-the-wool Oscar fan. But I do understand some of the criticism that the most popular and most financially successful film of the year is at least in the conversation for best.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was... It just turned into this thing. Like, it snowballed and it snowballed and it grew. And, as somebody who has, followed the Oscars, and I, had an Oscar website for a while, and, there was a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much the pushback from this getting no nominations for Best Picture, or not getting nominated, snubbed, if you will, which that's a different argument for a different day.
Yeah.
The committee got together and said, well, maybe the reason that it didn't get nominated for Best Picture is because we only limit it to 5. And had we had more available spots, a movie such as this probably would have gotten in there.
But then it still says, well, if it still wasn't enough to get nominated to win, then what does it expand anything? It just means, like, we're just here as like a consolation prize.
Right. So the rules committee got together and they said, well, what if we make it where it could be, like, we have to have 5, but based on the way that the voting system is done, the preferential voting system, which is actually kind of fun if you really break it down, but they said, if more than 5 films get enough first place votes in that system, maybe we should allow up to 10.
Right.
So then the rule got changed, and they said, well, 5 is the minimum, 10 is the maximum, and going forward, like, we're sorry, movies like The Dark Knight will now probably get
Black
included.
Panther.
Right. Will probably get nominated because there's more spots available.
Mm-hmm.
So, these two, it's almost like the scene in Heat where, like, the two main get together for the first time and really talk it out. I don't remember what it was that came out in 2009 that was, big and popular. I don't remember.
Aside from Avatar, yeah.
Well, we're not going to talk about The Hurt Locker. But, I mean, as far as, like,
what expanded on
fluff movies, right?
Right.
Not that this is fluff, but you get what I'm saying. This isn't your typical Oscar
Transformers movie. That
something like that,
didn't
right?
Get anything more than a freaking CGI nomination.
Right. Fun with computers. That I remember the next year there were actually 10 nominations, and really all 10 of them were just more of the same types of Oscar fare. There might have been one that was like a kids movie. Up? Was it? No, that was 2010. So, anyway, the long and the short of it is The Dark Knight basically changed the Oscars forever. by not getting nominated for Best Picture, and then movies such as this were, I don't know, like, they went through a thing where they were like, it had to be, 5 but less than 10. Then they said it had to be 10.
Yeah.
And then they went back, and now they're back. I think it has to be 10 now.
Stop it.
It was 10 for a while back in, like, the 40s. Like, they expanded back then, and then they cut it back to 5. They cut it back to 5, I think, after, or maybe they expanded it after Citizen Caine lost.
All right.
Because that was another one. They were like, oh, Citizen Caine should have won, but it didn't. But Heath Ledger did go on to win the Oscar posthumously.
Yes.
It was pretty emotional.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of the interesting thing with this approach with Batman that a lot of other stories try to at least kind of get to a point like Batman at least is on the same psychological level as the Joker. You kind of think on the same level and try to anticipate his stuff. On this one, he almost never figures him out. He's still trying to approach him as a regular criminal when everyone else around him keeps telling him, no, that's definitely not what he is. Trying to force Alfred's telling him, you got to think outside the box. The guy doesn't want anything conventional. He's just anarchy.
You're right. Like, in all other previous incarnations, Batman is always like, he might be a little bit slow, but he always figures it out.
Yeah.
Right.
And as we can get a little bit more into it a little later on, but the thing...
Yeah, we still have like an hour left.
Yeah, it's a while to go here. They're trying to portray Joker as this sort of like complete anarchist, that he's just does things without plans or whatnot, but he's created the most elaborate plans possible in the entire film. When we get up to the scene where it's him and Dent, he's just saying like, I don't... Everyone else is schemers. I'm not a schemer, but he's the one who's making all the plans.
He's the mastermind.
He's the mastermind. The entire bank heist at the beginning of the thing, he plotted everyone against one another. He strategically planned to get the bus, steal the bus, kill the driver, get out of the thing exactly at the right time to integrate with all the other buses. He's the one who's plotting everything else. It's like you're trying to sell us one thing, but clearly that's not what the character actually is. So it's a little weird. It feels more like the Riddler to me. Laying out clues, the police, laying out the things saying like, oh, I've got Harvey Dent somewhere. It's like just like one guy's like Patrick Harvey and some other Dent guy and whatnot. It feels like they're kind of merging different Batman villains together to a certain degree.
Yeah.
It just feels a little...
There's no question that he earned this Oscar.
Yeah, I'm not going to doubt that, whatever.
I remember at the time there was a lot of debate about whether he would have won had he not passed away. And, it was almost like a sympathy vote, people claimed.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, I feel like...
Just knowing how Academy tends to skew in a certain way.
Right.
You're just not entirely certain how...
He might not have even been nominated.
Yeah, you're just never quite certain. I mean, the closest thing you can equate it to is Hopkins' Lecter.
Yeah, although that's the most... Hopkins' Lecter had much less screen time.
Oh, yeah, much less screen time.
Much less.
But just in terms of the style of character in a certain way, not the typical thing they would have leaned towards, but because he was such a captivating performance in the film.
Right. Although I would argue that Hopkins really just played Hopkins. To a degree.
To a degree.
Kind of like Kevin Spacey winning for playing Kevin Spacey.
I'm not precious about Silence of the Lambs. I'm a Manhunter guy all day, every day.
Well,
so
I'm a Silence of the Lambs guy. That's awesome imagery, by the way. Mm. Where the red light goes, you bang.
I think the film got nominated for cinematography. It might have gotten score, I think.
That sounds right.
It sounds right, because I bought the CD for this thing.
Yeah, I thought it had 4 or 5 nominations, actually.
Sure, we've got a section on it here.
Yes, she's going to marry him?
Best sound editing, best art direction, best cinematography, best film editing, best makeup, sound mixing, and visual effects.
That's 7. Oh, and Ledger is 8.
Yes.
So 8 nominations.
Mm-hmm.
Did it say how many of those that won?
I don't think it won any, aside from him.
Ledger's the only one?
It won for best sound editing. That's it. Everything else was just nominations.
Okay. So that actually lends more credibility to... Here's the burn, because he had that half of his face in the oil or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm. Which they showed in the trailer, so they kind of miffed some people. They kind of like...
Oh, they gave...
half spoiler.
Yeah. Well, I mean, come on.
Yeah. But you're saying that...
legacy characters, but I see the imagery, right, I get it.
Yeah. But you're saying since it didn't win a lot of other awards, it wouldn't have been much of a contender to win the big one anyway.
Right, but the fact that it got nominated for 8, but then was excluded from Best Picture, added fuel to the fire.
But also no screenplay, no direction.
Right.
It happens, not terribly regularly.
Right, like none of the major categories, the big 5, as it were.
So, it didn't say music. It was all technical awards.
Yeah, score was not on there.
No, sadly.
There's no way he finds the coin in the wreckage.
Yeah, it's a little...
Come on. Ooh, cheers to that cup of coffee. A little skin graft there. I always love that they get it so that steaming hot cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. I never understood it. I talked about this. I never understood putting the orange juice in the pitcher.
Okay.
Only to then pour it from the pitcher into the glass.
No.
Just pour it right in the fucking glass. Why dirty the pitcher? Drives me nuts. Stupid things like that. Did she die?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Joker switched the dresses. Because he knew that Batman was far more compelled to save Rachel, so he switched the address, so he goes off and saves Denton by accident.
Got it. I knew that. I was following that much. I just... I'd forgotten that she actually perished.
Yeah.
Making it sound like I've never seen this before. It has been a minute, but... Spent all that time talking about the Oscars that, you know. Berries and granola?
We'll definitely talk more about this aspect in the next one about Rachel dying, and also the thing like she was going to wait for me that one day I don't want to be Batman anymore. It's There's also another departure from how Batman's typically portrayed, where it's like it's being Batman's almost a compulsion, psychologically so. You can see it back to Keaton's performance, like when he's talking with Bale right before the climax of the film. It's like, I don't know why I have to do this, I just do. That type of thing is like, I'm compelled to be Batman. Instead of like, it's just something like, I'm doing for right now, but I kind of not want to do it for much longer. It just feels a little detached from a lot of the source material.
Evil dies tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Evil dies tonight. God, what a stupid fucking movie.
Fuck all.
Available in the archives now if you're a Halloween fan.
Yeah.
You'd like to check out our...
Like to suffer.
I feel like... Sorry, we're digressing a second
Sure.
here. I feel like the critiques of the 2018 Halloween film were fair.
Yes.
It's an okay movie with fair critiques on our part.
Yeah.
Halloween Kills is just dog shit. Ends is yet to come on our end, but it is coming.
Yes.
He is such a great actor.
Oldman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gary Oldman is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
In that every single thing he does is different than the one before.
Very, very transformative actor.
And again, he did finally win an Oscar.
Yeah, we talked about Darkest Hour.
And, you know, it is so good. He was great in it. It just felt a little late. Wow.
Yeah.
It's a little Terminator for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A little bit.
But it's beautiful.
Yeah.
A little Purell there on the door.
Yeah.
If only we'd have thought to buy stock in that back in 08, right? What a distinguished man he is.
Yeah, I like that. Like these little beats with Maroney. It's like, yeah, this has gotten too extreme. It's gotten way out of hand. It's like, this is all bad for business shit, man.
Yeah.
Joker's gonna run us out of business worse than the fucking cows and Batman did.
I wonder how many takes they did on that.
Oh.
Because to reset that pile of money,
Oh.
I'm guessing they did it once and that's it.
To have to climb back up there, too.
I bet the backside is just a ladder.
Probably.
It's not a 360
Oh,
point.
no. I like to look at that Chechen gangster, man. He's a really, really good look.
I don't think the Joker does enough laughing for me.
Yeah, he needs to be a little bit more unhinged to a degree.
A little
on that.
bit. You know what I mean?
Because that's usually the thing with Joker. He's a very impulsive character. He kind of does things for a laugh. He'll kill off
It's a
kill
joke.
off a henchman just to have a chuckle.
Well, like in the pencil magic trick scene.
that thing.
That is the Joker.
Right.
I feel like this is very he's almost too dark in a way. It's great that he's dark. I get it. But there isn't a balance for me.
Right.
Even the scenes where he was talking about the scars on his face.
Yeah.
Like, what a great image that is.
Yeah.
There's just the why so serious is almost true to a fault.
Yeah.
like, it's almost...
feels like it should burst out laughing because of it.
Right. He's supposed to be insane to a degree.
Right.
And, in a way, he's the least insane because of his mastermind ability.
Yeah.
We're really deconstructing this to the point where, like, I don't want to talk myself out of him winning the Oscar. He's brilliant.
It's not... We're not criticizing so much the performance as the approach of the direction.
Well, the way it's written.
Particular ways of how it's written in that regard.
Did Nolan write this as well?
Oh.
I thought he did. I could be wrong.
Can't reach on the back of the box. Tired looking up things on the phone.
Well, yeah, you can't look on the box. You got the wiki out.
Yeah.
Check that wiki.
Him and his brother Jonathan wrote it.
Well, we'll blame Jonathan.
Yeah. Jonathan's been behind some good stuff. A Person of Interest, Westworld.
Oh, we got a mob in the hospital. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight.
He's still broadcasting with his fucking microphone.
Of course he is. Got to get a news scoop. I do love that they're like a team.
Right.
Like in some portrayals, particularly in the 89 and Returns, Alfred he's not really a partner.
He's not involved with, like, figuring out the schemes and stuff.
Right. Like, he's obviously helpful and a party to the... There was a Binny's.
No.
I love a Binny. Binny's is a Chicagoland liquor store chain, but like an upscale one.
Yeah.
It's not like your, strip mall grocery store.
Sure,
it's like a big box grocery liquor store. Anyway, what was I saying? Before I saw the Binnies? Beautiful, the red end. Old school Nokia phone there with the pre-smartphone days. What were we talking about?
Alfred and Bruce.
Oh, Alfred, right. Alfred, hi.
That's ice cream.
Like Popeye. He was helpful and a party to the shenanigans.
Yeah.
But he wasn't like a tag team partner. And
right. Because clearly they craft this Alfred that he's probably like British Secret Service or something else along those lines.
Yeah.
Or British Army or Marines of some sort that get special forces training going off in these different places around the world to get these pieces of experience that would benefit Bruce in this entire thing.
If this movie came out, I just thought of this. If this movie came out today, can you imagine the line of Funko Pops that would be all the different, like, him in the nurse's outfit, the regular one, Dent with the half Terminator face.
Yeah.
Is it supposed to be, like, ironic that he says he's not...
It feels like, as written, it feels like it should be, because, again, how do you write the script knowing that he's so elaborately planned out with everything? That he planned this entire... just in the middle of the film. Where they're going off with the convoy, and then he does the whole thing with the rocket launcher, all this type of stuff, and... elaborately plans it out to where he gets caught, where he can... plant the bomb in the major crimes unit and plot the whole thing out with Rachel and Dent and all this other stuff, and having it so the bomb goes off and all the cops are kind of evacuated from the building because they're chasing after Dent and Rachel and whatnot, and be able to get the guy out that stole the mom's money. How do you write that and write it straight that he's not a schemer? Feels weird.
A little bit. I don't remember your list of Oscar nominations, but I do not believe that makeup was one of them.
Yes, it was.
Oh, it was?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Obviously, a lot of this Dent stuff is all just a CGI creation. They probably put a green screen mask on half of his face or something.
You think?
At least for part of it. I'm sure when they're doing side shots and whatnot, there's at least that, but obviously...
You don't think that's a prosthetic?
Not going right through his mouth or anything. There's at least some CGI enhancement on the thing.
Mm-hmm. Why would his face not be still bandaged?
Yeah, that's a little weird.
He would be in the burn unit for months.
Right.
Or whatever, I get it. It's a storytelling device.
It looked like Dark Man.
Great touch with the Purell. Great touch. Just a little thing. Possibly even ad-libbed.
If he was bandaged up, he looked like Dark Man, which means he would be Liam Neeson.
Right.
He was in the last movie.
Awesome. Love it.
Yeah. I believe this was at Brock's Candy Factory, which explains the kind of checkered decals.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think it was.
I didn't realize
they were
that...
just scheduled for demolition.
I didn't realize Brock's Candy was native to Chicago.
Pretty certain that's what it was. That's what I heard, anyway.
And they just legit blew up this building?
So Bill kept trying to attribute that was like an ad-lib on Ledger's part, that the thing legitimately misfired, but no, they planned it out with kinematics and storyboards and everything.
Right. I mean, it looked...
You're going to blow it up once, man. You get it right the first time.
Huh. I guess I didn't know that about Brock's Candy. I love a candy corn.
Mm.
And those little caramel guys with the little white cream in the middle.
Mm.
Bullseyes or cream, I don't know, caramel cream, whatever you call them.
Mm.
Damn it, those are great. I pretty much like all candy.
You can't have none no more.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right. Evil dies tonight. No, sorry. I was going to say that his character has been kind of neglected, but there really isn't anything for him to do.
Fox?
Yeah, there's nothing for him to do, really.
Yeah, I was kind of noting that a little bit.
I mean, I know he got a promotion at the end of the last one,
Yeah,
but...
right.
Again, the Hotel Monaco in the back there.
They kept in pretty tight areas just downtown on the river.
Well, right. They only went about, 8 square blocks that they could
Right.
get the permits to shut down for
Sure.
however many lengths of time.
Right, you're not going to River North or anything else, Edgewater or some shit.
Right. It would be kind of,
You notice here? It drips down his neck.
yeah,
Down his holes in the neck.
yeah, great,
chin.
great. It would have been interesting if they'd have used, like, Navy Pier or something.
Something, yeah.
But that might have been a little too non-Gotham.
Maybe a tad.
Well, I don't know if it works like that.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is,
It's a little exposition, right?
right. It's more into trying. I always keep trying to figure out what the timeline of the whole thing is. I mean, there's a thing they said just, I don't know, 45. I don't know when it was. Some point in time in the film when, yeah, when he was setting up. I don't know what it was. Anyway, mentioned something about some R&D thing for the military or whatnot about cell phones, and Bruce just says, "I'm keeping it close to the chest. I'm not going to reveal much about it." It's like, how quickly did you unfold this entire thing to all the cell phones in the city? Feels like it's not like it's like a software update. It feels like you have to actually install something into the phone for it to be able to do this.
Right.
It feels like it's only been, the film's probably taking, of course, maybe a week or so.
Right. Well, there it is. Not even hiding the fact that it's so blatantly.
Wabash. You can see the sign.
Yeah,
on
the Marina
4K.
Marina Tower on the right.
I mean, they mentioned Arkham once or twice in the film, but never mentioned the Narrows. Never mentioned anything about that. Don't even show where all that stuff was in Gotham before. It just completely remanufactured.
Right, because Arkham was on like an island or something,
Yeah,
right?
right in
Like
the middle of the
in the
city.
middle of the river.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which they could have used like Goose Island, which is a
Well, sure.
it's an actual island
Yeah.
that houses a brew. Perhaps folks listening have heard of Goose Island beer.
Yeah.
The brewery is there
Yeah.
on the island. That would have been a perfect location
Yeah.
to be Arkham.
Yeah. Something.
He's just all business.
Oh yeah, I really loving this whole thing. It's sad that they kill him off here. I would have liked to see more of him.
Interesting. There's the metro train.
where they would have filmed this stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely...
That's definitely
That's Navy Pier right there. But that is...
They don't have ferries coming in and out.
No, that's Navy Pier, but the stuff to the right is not in Chicago. No. So that's weird. They, like, superimpose some shit.
Yeah.
I guess trying to make it... You know, because the thought process is that it's New York City, right? Like, Gotham is New York.
Well, it's like... They say that for Gotham, they say that for Metropolis, so... I don't know. They just...
But if you think about New York City being, you know, like, on this peninsula...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They can go a little further to...
Yeah.
Make it feel... Like it's at the edge
right.
of...
It still would feel like a lot of this plot is Zeus.
Why have a Merry Christmas when you could have a no-holds-barred Christmas?
I don't know what the hell that's from. But, saying like, okay, talking about Joker's like, oh, you know, basically implying like it is a lot like Manhattan, that there's a bridge and tunnel type of thing, or bridges or whatnot. That's the only way to get in and out of the thing. But they just, it would be nice if they just created like an overall like aerial shot of the city to see what it is. Because you're relying so much on just the Chicago imagery, and that's not what Chicago is. It would be nice if just like big aerial shot, show it as an island or whatnot to kind of discern it in that way. Because they use that a lot more in Rises. Blowing up all the bridges and the whole thing. They make it much more of a... Make it feel a lot more like it's an island to a certain degree.
Which Manhattan is.
Yeah.
And makes sense if you're thinking of it as Gotham as New York City.
So.
Right, you could very easily CGI just an overhead view of the whole city.
I mean, it's basically the same thing they did in the last film. They just create a custom shoreline for the whole thing.
Right.
At no point does Gotham feel like it's an island in this movie. Make this sort of plot point function.
It feels coastal, but it doesn't feel
isolated.
Islandic? What's the...
And again, another scheme from the Joker thing. So it's just really playing against what they're trying to sell the audience so much.
And this is supposed to be the entire population?
It's a bunch of people. That's all I can tell you. I think Fox said there's like 30 million people in Gotham.
He did say 30 million, which I find very hard to believe.
I know how you're evacuating 30 million people, man.
I don't think there's any one town has 30 million people.
Can't be that.
At least not in the States. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Manhattan has an estimated population of 1.63 million, so...
Just on the island, right.
How big is this? The island of Gotham.
Right.
It's the size of like freaking Massachusetts or something.
That's creepy. We have clear shots on 5 clowns. It's a great line. This is really a thing? Like, we're literally going to vote on the boat? Hashtag vote on the boat?
Mm-hmm. We're recording this on Election Day.
We are recording this on Election Day, that's correct.
That's thematically purposeful.
But how ridiculous is it that they just have little scraps of paper for 30 million people or whatever the fraction of 30 million people is on that boat?
The 0.001%.
That's still a lot of scraps of paper. Let's put them all in a hat. Weird.
I always felt a little bit that, like, with his Batman voice in this one, I always felt like they maybe, like, did some work in post-production on it to make it feel more bassy or something else like that, because it's definitely different than
gravelly or
Begins.
This feels a little too ahead of its time. I don't know. Like, what they described as the technology doesn't match the imagery for me. Little C4? Maybe? Classic diversion.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, blow and go. Everybody likes that.
Yeah.
Maybe not everybody. Yeah, this is very elaborate.
Mm-hmm.
It's also being disguised by the quick edits.
Yeah.
So that your mind doesn't really have a lot of time to process what's going on.
Yeah.
And decide if it's logical or logistical.
Trying to figure out where they shot this. I think I might know. I don't know if I'm going to figure this out fast enough. No, they shot it when the Trump Tower was under construction in Chicago.
So it actually is in the Trump Tower?
Yeah, it is.
The Trump Tower actually sits right on the river. So that's... I thought of that actually when they were filming. I was like, the Trump Tower wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful building, all glass. It's very tall.
I've been in it once. We did a location scout for a certain unit in there.
I have never been inside. I've obviously been next to, walked past it. It's a great location. It's a great looking building. It says Trump right across the side of the building.
Such a shame.
Well, at this time, I don't know. He wasn't the same guy.
No.
So
we'll leave it at that.
And it actually occurred to me more than once that this might have been the Trump Tower, but I thought it had happened, that it was being built later than this. So actually
we did our location scout in 2009, so it was fully built by then.
Yeah, so fascinating that some of that was filmed there. Makes total sense. If you want to feel bad about your life, get out your Zillow app and look at some of the condos that are up there at the top of the Trump Tower. And try to figure out what those people do for a living.
Yeah.
That they can afford a home such as that. And you were what kind of establishment was it that you were scouting in here?
It was just a regular unit.
Like a business or a residential?
Residential. There he is.
The Booker T next to him there. Maybe not. Beefcake Barber.
He's passed away, man. It's sad.
I know.
It's fantastic.
He's great in Jackie Brown, too.
Oh, yeah, man. Winston, that's what it was.
Winston?
Winston.
That's right.
With Max Cherry.
God, the best. Jackie Brown.
So you got to work with Pam Grier, Robert Forster, and Sam Jackson. That's a hell of a fucking credit, man.
I don't think he had a scene with Pam Grier, though, did he?
Kind of at the end, I think.
That scar or whatever it is on his neck is interesting.
Yeah.
It looks like makeup. I don't think he actually had a real something.
I don't think so, no.
Unless he had a tattoo removed, and that's what the result. But that'd be weird for it to be scarred in the shape of your tattoo. It almost looks.
Yeah, because you got the one on the temple there, and then
Yeah.
the regular tat down the neck on the other side.
Yeah, I bet those are all production.
Yeah, probably. I heard
No, there's
Tom
a real,
Lister was just a real sweetheart.
real gravelly voice there on Batman.
Yeah, in this scene when he's trying to just talk like a regular guy, the voice does not work at all. You got to learn how to kind of modulate it to a certain degree, how harsh you're going to go with it to really make some of those pieces of dialogue work better.
Trust the Gordon's fisherman there. His makeup is very consistent throughout. Down to the wrinkle lines on his forehead never get filled in.
Yeah, that would have been script supervisor. Usually they're in charge of at least continuity of scripts and dialogue and whatnot.
Right.
Probably at least the makeup department was taking photographs every day.
I'm sure. I just think clearly it's not the same day.
No.
Like it's it's always the same.
Yeah.
So, which means that the character is doing it poorly every time as well.
Yeah.
That's a great shot.
Yeah. That was a big reversal from what we had at the end of Begins, was like, what was the line he had with Al Ghul at the end of the thing? It's like, I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if is Nolan responding to that in this case, or what the case was, but...
Well, that was a really big departure for the Batman character.
Right. I mean, the fact that they're pinpointing it more in this film, that he has a rule that he won't kill anyone, and Joker's playing on that the entire time, so...
That voice is terrible.
Yeah, it's like I said, when he plays it more down, it's a lot more scary.
He's too pursed lips or something.
He's just he's also playing like he's gasping for air because he's been attacked by the dogs and stabbed and shot and all that type of stuff. So I understand the motivation behind it, but yeah, it just has come out as convincing dialogue because of how it's performed.
The Joker has always kind of thought of Batman as like his counterpart, right?
Yin and yang. Yeah.
You know, brought him down to our level, meaning that we're on the same level.
Yeah.
This is the first time he's really chuckled in
a long
time.
Yeah.
And I think that was a miss for me.
Yeah, I feel it too. You need a little bit more, just an erratic sensibility about how he's reacting in certain scenes.
I'm still very confused as to how he's walking around with this open wound.
Right.
With no, like, pain medicine or...
he said he refused medication for it, and he says he's in agonizing pain, and is not playing that in the performance at all.
It's just not believable.
Right.
Like, I find the story of him getting half his face charred away believable.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he, like, came out of it a day or two later...
Yeah, it's been like 2 days.
And looks like this...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it looks great, but the fact that it looks like that...
And he's intimidating. I'll say.
Agreed. It just kind of takes me out of it because it's not believable at all.
Right.
Like, it's weird because in this one, the Joker character is a little too believable.
Mm-hmm.
They needed to bring him back.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And he is not believable at all.
Right.
So they needed to level him up a little bit.
Yeah.
And meet the middle. Meet me halfway.
Yeah.
It's going to make it a running appearance in every commentary.
Eckhart definitely needs to be playing more the fact that they say he's in agonizing pain. He just never plays that. Again, the fact that Two-Face is just born out of rage. Is not born out of psychological duplicity or some kind of split sensibility in his head. He would still be the same character without the burns. And that's the thing that kind of cripples it.
I feel
regardless of what happens to him physically, he still ends up being the same person because Rachel's died. That's the only instigating point. Him getting burned is just superfluous.
Yeah, it's like a visual representation of the whatever. I mean, they even went so far as to burn one side of the coin.
Yeah.
Like, it...
Which happened because Rachel had it at the time, because he gave it off to her when he got loaded into the police van.
Right. In case you forgot, they showed you forgot, but the audience...
Yeah, flashback when you saw it, just to kind of like remind you.
Right.
The whole thing.
Yeah, this voice is too much.
Yeah, I don't have as much of a problem with it. I mean, it's been way blown up over the years and whatnot. I think there's still a good way he could have performed it. I've heard Bale's like he has some reservations about how his performance was in some of the films at sometimes. I would definitely say Bale's done exceedingly more, at least layered stuff.
Yeah, I would agree. He won his Oscar for that boxing movie, right?
Yeah, The Fighter.
The Fighter.
Supporting actor. Again, they seem to just kind of strip away a lot of the psychological aspects of Batman himself. He's not as haunted of a character as he usually would be. The reason he became Batman in the first place doesn't really kind of hang over him anymore.
Yeah, I would agree with that. He feels more like a well-oiled machine than a tormented person,
right?
That is doing this on the side for
the
for justice,
waiting for someone else to come along to just take it up and just move on with his life. It just feels a little too easy for him to let go of it.
Do you feel like there needed to be a bigger mix of a bigger balance, of Bruce Wayne, the character, versus like this one's like 80% Batman and 20% Bruce, maybe more, maybe 85-15,
maybe, yeah.
Do you think that a slightly more balanced Bruce Wayne involvement would have helped in any way?
I mean, watching this again the other night, I felt like it wasn't as emotionally investing for me.
Okay.
I just didn't. I think it's just the fact that it feels like it's a little cold. Bruce Batman just feels a little. You don't really one psychological thing, but you don't feel like you get as deeply into the soul of the character to a certain degree. Because the first film does kind of explore all those ideas of the fear going on in the entire film. That's a major theme of it. And him trying to grapple with that, overcome it, and kind of turn it back on everyone else and use it as a tool. That's something that feels psychological, feels emotional to a degree. This one does kind of keep all the characters at arm's length to a certain degree. I don't feel like I explore as much about Batman in this thing as I do as much as Gordon or anyone else in the film. It feels everyone's just kind of at the same depth level to me. I mean, I so much like the promise of this ending here that Batman kind of learns that, like, I don't have to be perceived as a hero. We'll get way more into it in Rises when we get to it. It's just the fact that, like, it's got a great promise of, like, Batman doesn't have to be the shining hero of the city. He just has to do what he has to do. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks about him. If he can still go out there and do what he has to do, but still be vilified, but still do the good that he knows he can do, that's a great idea to me. And it sets up, to me it always felt like it would set up, in the third film, a journey towards a redemption to a certain degree.
Right.
But Rises just never gets to any of that.
This is a little too much for me. I'm just walking away as the thing self-destructs or whatever. I don't know.
The message is sound. It just, yeah.
Yeah, the imagery's a little much.
Yeah.
There was so much talk about who the villains were going to be in the next one.
Right.
Particularly because they told you who the villain was going to be at the end of the previous. They said, they showed you that it was going to be the Joker.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Which they don't really do here.
No.
And I so badly wanted it to be the Riddler because he's my favorite villain. Wow. I guess I'd forgotten that was the the last line of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's nuts. And now we have 5 minutes of credits.
10 minutes, actually.
Oh my God, that's too many minutes.
Mm-hmm.
I understand why it went on to, like, you know, make $1 million or billion dollar worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you've always said that, you know, this isn't your favorite.
Well, the thing is, I loved it when it came out, but it's just the thing, like, more I revisited over the years, the more I kind of found flaws in some places here and there that just became less... They
stick with you?
Less enchanted with the film. As my... just in terms of, again, a lot of the things I've already been saying, like, I kind of have more of an appetite for something that has more psychological layers to the character of Batman. It feels like it's just... Feels like Nolan and Bale's Batman is just like Bruce Wayne in a suit. Doesn't feel like Batman is his own sort of psychological entity.
Yeah, I buy that. Gary Oldman is so good. Eckhart was serviceable.
It was good, yeah. It just... the Dent storyline gets shortchanged because they... I don't know, I just... feels like they probably, like, changed their mind about it partway through scripting and development, and they just made more of a cog of a larger story instead of make it more of its own thing.
Right. Yeah, I do think that Dent is the weaker part of this.
Mm-hmm. Heard rumors at the time that they were like maybe considering Guy Pearce for the whole thing, which I thought would have been fantastic. He would have fit perfectly in the whole thing too.
As Dent?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and Guy Pearce is part of Nolan's family, you know, so to speak.
And Memento and that and all that. So.
God, I love Memento. Looking to see if there's any other names here that jump out at me as like, oh yeah, I missed that person. But I'm not seeing anybody to, nobody that became anybody or... sometimes you go back and you're like, wait.
Sure.
Somebody, this was their first movie or whatever. They're Tommy Tiny Lister. Not even in quotes.
Yeah, that's interesting. Stunts.
Oh, good God. A lot of them.
I didn't see anyone.
Yeah, I mean, it's going so fast.
Well, there's 3 columns. There's only 2 of us.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah, you need a third person to... Where's Trent?
Yeah.
IMAX consultant. You gotta have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the IMAX, man, that was that was something else. What a phenomenon this was. Just in, 2008. In cinema, really. I mean, there really wasn't a movie, there hadn't been a movie in my experience that was this phenomenon-esque, I think, maybe since Titanic.
From a different crowd, yeah.
Right, well, I just mean from like a pop culture standpoint.
Sure.
And Titanic was, more than a decade prior.
Yeah.
So, as we record this, we're coming up on the 25th anniversary of Titanic. Can't wait. Everybody celebrate.
Yeah, I remember some of the TV spots, all the trailers. I mean, there was one particular TV spot I liked so much. It's TV spot number 15, if you look it up. Has a great tagline that's not anywhere else. It says, "Can you avenge evil and not become it?" which is kind of sums up the theme of the film.
Right. Yeah, that's good. That's good. It's interesting that they didn't go with that more.
More, yeah. Go on for a while here.
Yeah, oh yeah, we still got a ways to go.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I know a lot of people claim this as their favorite Batman movie. Just, of all the Batman movies.
Okay.
I think there's some merit to that. I still go with the 89 Keaton, probably.
Probably. I'm going to give the new one more time to simmer. I need to watch it a few more times before I put a stamp on.
I would like to rewatch it.
As I saw in the cinema, I watched it when I first got the 4K. So
I've only seen it once. But you're a bigger rewatcher than I am.
Yeah. But I love with the score for that one, so.
Yeah, I know you have the CD, right? Or downloaded it?
It's 2 hours long. I've listened to it a couple of times.
That's insane.
Well, streaming, you don't have to go on a CD now.
I'm not saying you're insane. I'm saying that the score being 2 hours is insane.
Well, it's a 3-hour movie, so.
Right. I guess it makes sense.
You have to fill it up somehow.
I guess it makes sense. It's it's hard for me to wrap my mind around the fact that a score could be 2 hours long.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That I'm not sure if we'll get to that one or not. Maybe we could do a commentary on that one.
I was thinking
eventually.
About it.
We'll cross that bridge.
The sequel's not coming out for a couple of years, so.
Right. The pipes and drums of the Chicago Police Department. Absolutely.
Richard
Hats
Daley.
off.
Daley was still in office, man.
Mayor Richard Daley, you got it. Not for long.
Not much longer. Rahm's going to step in a couple of years.
Yeah, Rahm Emanuel took over. That was Richard Daley was the mayor of Chicago for decades.
Ages, yeah.
So that was something new, and I believe don't quote me on this, but I think the mayor of Chicago is up for re-election today.
I don't know. I didn't follow that since from the suburbs.
Now I'm going to go research that. I mean, it's election day, so I'm going to go turn on the TV.
We'll find out eventually.
We'll find out. By the time this comes out, you'll know. Well,
right.
Thanks for journeying with us.
Yes, and a couple months we'll get around to the third film, and there'll be fascinating discussions there.
Absolutely. Can't wait. I mean, yes, I can.
Adios.
Bye.